Guten Tag, mein chaps and chapettes. How's it going? Screezilla here, and I hope you're all well. And today we are taking out the Z-20, the second most OP boat in the game currently. It's one of those weird things at the moment. There's really only two ships worth taking out: the Z-20 and the Fletcher. The tribal class isn't too bad, but the Z-20 is really just a beast as well. It just, oh gosh, it has such good guns. The Z-20, or the Carl Galster, 1936 destroyer. It was a very good boat, mainly because it was, named Carl, which is a great name, especially when it's spelt the German way, as we all know. The 127mm guns are really effective, and it feels easy to use. Because it's also a bit smaller than most other destroyers, it's a bit harder to hit, which is really, really helpful. Also, I hope the sound is a lot better today. Sorry about the last video, the sound quality was a bit off. As you see here, we're fighting a Fletcher, I think. Or is it a tribal? I can't see exactly. I'm not wearing my glasses, sorry. I can't see exactly what it is. Oh, it's a PR7Y. Okay. But we are just getting those ammunition hits with this thing. It's so easy to get the aim on these. But also because we're so close, it's really easy to get the aim. As you can see on the map, on this map, we start off very close to each other. And that means you're into the action almost immediately with these ships. And it really, really makes the combat a bit dull. It's very frantic and kind of fun. But the fact you're so close, it's not real naval combat there, because you're taking on ships at sort of point-blank range. Yes, you can use the islands to avoid and things like that, but you're generally point blank and you're just gonna get straight into the action. One of the other things as well is, in this game, a lot of people just use destroyers. PT boats really didn't counter in much, which really does show how poor PT boats are doing. Now we're getting some good hits, good criticals on some of these ships. I've really noticed the Yugamo is struggling a lot. We've taken out, what, 3 ships already? 4 minutes into the game. Now, if this was a real live-action game, say, then that's 3 people that possibly can't respawn. And this is going to be one of the problems with balancing on these small maps, because it's going to be very fast and furious, but ships are going to get taken out so quickly it's barely going to be usable, which really will affect it. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is actually go into detail of what I was talking about yesterday in yesterday's video. War Thunder announced today that they're working on larger ships. It was a subtle hint just in their Facebook page, but this testing is actually working on larger ship classing at the moment. So we are getting cruisers. I'm pretty sure that's confirmed now. We're going to be getting cruisers before this goes released. So larger ships are coming. Now, saying that, it could be that they're actually not talking about cruisers. They are talking about the French flotilla torpille flotillas, which are very large destroyers, basically small cruisers. But also the Italians as well had those small cruisers slash destroyers. So again, that could be what they were talking about. But I do feel we will be getting light cruisers at least. I don't think we'll be getting heavy cruisers. You know, things like county class cruisers for England and stuff, and Graf Spee and stuff like that. You know, they're very big old ships. Although I'd love to see the county class come in and things like that, I don't think we'll be getting them because the armour is just so thick that a lot of destroyers will struggle a bit to penetrate them at distance, things like that. So we will be getting destroyer cruisers, that's pretty much confirmed. But yeah, it feels like they're going to go more towards larger ships for testing in the future. Now we've got a tribal class here, and we keep hitting his ammo but not exploding it, of course, because we just can't get that lower shot in. And we're pretty damaged here, so we're not in the best spot. We're taking a lot of front damage. Now that should have been an ammo rack, in all honesty. That, you know, there is some really weird ammo issues. Fletcher comes in and annihilates us. So as you can see, the Fletcher really is the king. The tribal class, you know, it feels a bit underwhelming, in all honesty, which is odd because it is a very good destroyer. Yeah, it's a weird one. Anyway, so we will be getting cruisers by the sound of it. I think we also need corvettes and frigates as well. You know, we just need those slightly bigger ships. And, you know, it's... Well, I think that's the best way to go for it. Because at the moment it's just not working. So, you know, having those slightly larger ships in there, having longer range fights as well will be a good idea. And as I said yesterday in the video, submarines are definitely an option that they could play with. Now, the thing with the War Thunder engine is they do have a XY... Sorry, what am I talking about? XY... Z and the other one, they've got the 4 horizontal, well, they've got all the accesses. So they've got a 360-degree movement system, as we can see here with the plane. So, in theory, subs will work. Now here we are dive bombing. Now this is why I think the Germans are probably one of the best teams to have, because of the dive bombers. Using the Stuka here is just the best way to go for killing ships, because you can just annihilate them. Because one of the good things about dive bombing is AAA is a bit iffy at vertical angles, and that's why dive bombers tended to do well. Stukas especially. Stukas took out their number of, you know, very large ships. A single Stuka could take out a battleship, for instance. You know, that they are very effective. Of course, the Stuka had to place the bomb down, you know, towards the funnel or midship, things like that. Very accurate bombing, but the Stuka was capable of that. So it is a very OP plane for this kind of action. Torpedoes, not so much, but dive bombing, yeah, that is really effective against a ship. So submarines absolutely could work, and I think having submarines in the game would be an interesting aspect, and as I said, it would bring players in. It's a selling point for this whole game experience, because at the moment other games are more fun for ship combat, which is not what you want to have. You want to have this to be something that draws people in, And I think having submarines, because A, people want them, but B, it would just be a new selling point. It would be something different to any other game out there. Well, there is one game that does have subs, but it would be a very different system. The submarines would have to operate in deep water, of course. They couldn't operate in the shallows. But it would also give planes an opportunity to be useful, because you could scout for submarines, say, because you would be able to see them from the air if they were at shallow depths, periscope levels. Having bombs or depth charges on planes would be very useful. So we could absolutely have that system. I think also the game mode needs to be looked at as well, because at the moment, the game mode is one of the biggest problems. Capture the flag system, capture the point, is not really working that well. All you need to do is get a destroyer or something into the shallows, and it's game over pretty much for whoever does it first. They experimented a bit with the convoy system, and I think that was a really good option. Having convoys is kind of neat, and it's a bit of a different experience as well. Maybe defending a port as well could be interesting, stopping the enemy from getting into a port section. So, you have to defend this river here. So it gives a team something to actually defend against. So, it could make it interesting in that respect. Having, say, a couple of aircraft carriers, you could, because they seem to be doing these island maps, is say around the corner here is having a carrier, and around here or over here having a carrier, a capital ship that you have to protect through the game could be an interesting aspect, because it would mean that you'd have to have people protecting them with anti-aircraft, because they would be vulnerable from the sky, but also it would give PT boats a opportunity to shine, because they could sneak around the map and try and get in that way. Just some different game modes is something that is needed here, and it just needs to have that. It needs to have something that makes it stand apart from just ground forces, because at the moment it really is who can spawn camp first. Now we're actually being spawn camped, and we're winning still, because we've got the caps. The enemy have all got C is basically lost to us, but we've got B and A locked down pretty much. There is a destroyer in there, but it's getting absolutely torn apart, and we can't really spawn in any more destroyers because C is taken and they've got destroyers in the destroyer spawn zone. So spawn camping is really a problem, and yeah, that really does affect this mode. So having something where you've got a battleship in the spawn would stop the spawn camping. Of course, you could take it out, but it would be a hard target to take out. It would make an interesting aspect. You protect that battleship so you can't get spawn camped. All these little things. Now, right here, this guy is focusing his secondaries on the spawn. I don't know what he's shooting at, actually. I think he's just shooting at nothing at all, really. He's trying to shoot the airfield. There we go. His AAA's on the airfield. Doesn't see me coming. Drop my ordnance. Pull up. And that is the end of that Yugumo. The Yugumo's also got really bad AAA, so that does help me out here. But yeah, having something different. Also, as I said, submarines as well, because submarines could sneak into the spawn and take out those capital ships, But the destroyers, of course, you could have a destroyer coverage to keep them out, There are all these different aspects that could be used rather than capture the point. And I think that's something that needs to be looked into. Anyway, let me know below what you think for game modes and what you think at the moment as well. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I will catch you next time. This is Screezilla out. Bye-bye.